Hello, hello, hello. Tiffany here. Welcome to my quilting life. Today is Sunday, the 10th, the 2nd of October. Yeah. Anyways, I'm trying to make this work right here.
What isn't working?
My video. My video is not working. There we go. Now it's working. All right, let's see who's here. We got some early birds: Maggie, Jeannie, Ann, Kathy, Delia, Mary, Rich, Nancy, Kim, Donna, Raina, Dorothy, Sheila, Judy, Susan, Teresa, Louise, where did it go? Truth, Annie, another Sheila, Bettina, Alina, Mary, Denise, No Name, Jacqueline, Shirley, Linda, Robin. Everybody's here. Hello, hello. And if I missed your name, I'm sorry. Yes. So as you can see, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Now, I did not have breast cancer ever, but I have had my boobies surgically fixed a bazillion times because I have cystic boobies, fiber cystic boobies, the lumps. So, I kind of feel for those who have had to have surgery and so on and so forth. So,
my mother has,
and my mother-in-law, Scott's mom, has had breast cancer. So I definitely feel for all of those who have and or have had breast cancer. So I went and made myself a shirt out of the only breast cancer awareness fabric that I own. That, as you can tell, is way too tight for me because I have a bad habit of not paying attention to the size of the shirt top part, and it's kind of too small for my boobies. So I'm only wearing it today. I'll never wear it again after today because it's way too tight around the top portion. And sooner or later, I will. I tried. Just know, guys, that I tried and made myself a shirt to wear for Breast Cancer Awareness Month out of my own fabric. And if you're wondering what it says mothers are precious, sisters are precious, daughters are precious, and it has butterflies and the pink breast cancer awareness ribbon on it. So I did make myself something. And I used my serger, which I haven't used in months because I don't make clothes that often, but I really want to. I just haven't. So I just want to show you guys. I made a shirt. And you can see it's nicely hemmed and everything. I really did good on the straps and all. Like, I tried. It just doesn't fit up here. Oh, kitty. Does it fit? Say hi, Comfort. Say hi, everybody.
Everyone asks.
Okay. You want your 5 minutes of fame? There you go.
Always ask.
So today, as the title reads, I am going to do a quilt as you go table runner. Some people don't even know. QAYG. Quilt as you go. That's what it means. Quilt as you go. What is quilt as you go? Well, it's something that everyone's been asking me to do, but I don't because I have a long arm, so there's no purpose in quilting as you go. But today is the exception to my rule of never making quilt as you go. I went and grabbed myself some scrap pieces that came in the mail to me of fabric. They're jelly roll strips. I don't know how many are here, but they're nice. And I could tell you what fabric line they're from because the lady that sent them to me even put this in there. It's Garden Delight 2 by In the Beginning Fabrics from 2018. So there's that. So it's nice floral prints. I'll hold the whole thing up later. I grabbed myself a big chunk. When I'm done on the long arm, I always have like a nice long chunk of whatever size the quilt is in width by whatever I overcut in batting. So this is like 20 by 40 something inches of batting, cotton batting. And then I dug through my drawers for something leafy or flowery for a backing fabric, and I chopped it off. This was the backing fabric to another quilt. It was longer. It was from a 108. So I had this much of this, so I just chopped the end off, and it's exactly the size I need. So to do a quilt as you go table runner, you just need your backing fabric, your batting, and your fabric strips or whatever it is your quilt as you going. So that's what we're going to do today. And I'm going to start off by plugging in the iron, because what I need to do is baste my batting to my backing with some spray, because that's all I have. I don't want to pin, because then I have to remove pins as I go. Spray basting is easier. So that's what we're going to do today. I also need, that's it. That's all I need. I need a drink of water. That's what I need.
You need another water?
Mm-hmm.
You need juice?
Anyway, so today we're just going to do a quilt as you go table runner. And I'll walk you through the steps. And hopefully I'll be able to do the whole thing in one video. And we'll see. Because, you know, we'll see. Sometimes I can finish a project, the whole video, and sometimes not. So, hopefully everybody's having a wonderful weekend and relaxing and sewing today, because it's Sunday and that's what we do on Sundays. I just got done, well, we're not finished watching City Slickers. You guys remember that movie from the 90s, City Slickers? It's super funny. I like it. I like old 90s and 80s movies. Scott likes 90s and 80s action movies, but I like the comedy ones because they're funny. And I also like romance movies from that era. I don't know why. When I was a kid, they were, you know, when I was a teenager in the 90s, they were cheesy. But now they're like, oh, so heartwarming. Like, oh, I wish my life was like that. Not. Anyway. So that's what we were watching with City Slickers right before I came live. I'm waiting for the iron. As soon as the iron goes beep, then we'll know it's ready to be used. That's the only thing about my reliable steam vapor iron is it takes forever to warm up.
Well, that's what if there's any questions or anything.
Does anybody have any questions before I start this whole quilt as you go thing? I do have a whole stack of, these are all selvage to selvage strips here. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 12 here. And then these are longer strips that are already cut. There's like 1, 2, 3 here. Plus, I don't know how many here. About 7 or 8, 9 maybe. And I'm just going to use what I have, and it's all going to get cut to size, so I will have little scrap pieces left over from it. And then these little pieces I won't use because they're not as long as the width of, or the length. I don't know which way you want to consider it, the width of the table runner that I'm building today.
Can you use flannel as batting?
You can use flannel as batting, yeah. If you have a plain flannel that's not going to be bright, bleak is the word bleak, or it super sticks through. Like if you don't have such a whatever color, you could use it in between. But if you have white fabrics and your flannel that you're using as your batting is black, don't use it. That's just, you know, rule of thumb.
Are you following a pattern?
I am not following a pattern. I am just making it up as I go. So I'm going to press this. You guys obviously can only see some of the ironing board, and don't mind me in my pajama bottoms. I stayed in bed until noon today because I just was not in the mood to be up. Now I am, because I'm creating. I'm just ironing my backing fabric first, which you kind of cannot see, but you get the general idea of what I'm doing here. You can hear my ironing board squeaky, squeaky. I guess that's considered the new squeak, is the ironing board itself. And then I'm going to take my batting and I'm going to put it pokey side down. And when I mean pokey side, this side right here is a lot rougher than the other side. You can see the indents go one way and then they poke out the other. Pokey side down is because that's the way the cotton was needle punched. And I'm going to lay it on here and I'm going to press it before I iron, or before I spray baste it on, because the batting was like really shoved in a thing and it's very wrinkly. So I want it to be nice and flat because it was shoved in a bin that I shove in all the batting. It goes into a bin until I feel like using it for scrap. Now that I know it's flat, I'm just going to use my Taylor. I usually use Dritz, but they didn't have any last time, so I bought Taylor quilt basting spray at Walmart. And I'm just going to spray onto the back. I got it since I'm already standing. I'm just going to spray onto the fabric. Let's get it on here. You don't need, no, I need it to be moving or else I will get really stinky. I don't like the smell. This one stinks the worst. Of all basting spray, this stuff smells worse than the Dritz brand, so I don't like this brand, but it's all they had. And I don't need basting spray often because I don't do this often. And then I'm going to fold it back and do the other side. Oh, yeah. It's a very stinky, guys. So for those of you who have sensitive noses, I don't recommend using basting spray. I would find a different way to glue or just pin or whatever. But, ooh, this is horrible. Horrible, I say, horrible. I'm smoothing it out onto my backing fabric because I want it to stay nice and smooth. No wrinkles or puckers. And for that added flatness, I'm just going to iron over it like this. And if you see, I have a nice flat batting and backing. So now all we need to do is start quilting as we go. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera back so you guys can see what I'm going to do here. Go back this way. There we have it. Oh, that's so bad. Stinky. I do not recommend that spray, but if that's all you can afford, get it, because it was like literally, I think it was like $6 something, and the Dritz one is $8.79 or something like that at Walmart. So just know it's cheaper, but it stinks. So if you don't mind smells, then that's the perfect spray for you. All right, so what I'm going to do, because I want this to fit in the throat of my machine, is I'm going to roll it up, and I'm going to start with a strip. So I'm just going to grab one strip, and I'm going to stick it on here, and I'm going to go, okay, this is where I want it. This is how long it's going to be, and I'm going to take my scissors and cut it, just rough cut it. Now I don't need that piece. And I'm going to take a second strip that is not the same color, and I'm going to lay that right sides together on top of the batting and the strip, just like this. And I'm going to cut that to size, just like that. Yeah, whew. It's a stinky stuff. All right, I'm smoothing it out. It looks pretty straight to me, and if it's not, oh well, because this is a Quilt As You Go table runner. I am going to come over to my machine, and you could pin this in place if you need, and I'll do that anyway, so that way you guys can see, because I'm still sewing my normal 1/4 inch seam. So I'm just going to put a couple pins in the two pieces so that they stay lined up. The more pieces you do, the easier this becomes, though. So there's a couple pins just holding this in place. I'm going to come over here to my machine, and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance on those two pieces, covering both the pieces, the batting, and the backing. And I'm essentially quilting it into place as I do this. And I'm definitely going to run into problems with everything in my way up here. I'm trying to keep it flat.
OMG, Tips using pins.
Yeah.
It's a rarity.
I'm just going to throw that down there.
It's a rarity. Tip is not a pinner.
Yeah, I don't pin normally. Where did that thing go? I took one pin out so far because it was right there in my way. And once that strip is sewn on and you remove your pins, this is so easy. This is the easiest way to make a little quilt, or any quilt, honestly. I just don't do it. I'm going to slide this back with my fingers, and you can see there's my 2 strips, and you can see it's already quilted on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to the iron and give it a good press back. That's the only problem, is you got to get up and press it back, or you can just put your next piece on because it sticks to the batting really nicely, but I want it to stay flat, so I'm going to iron it back.
Get up, I could have done it.
Yep.
Coulda.
You could have. And now that those 2 pieces are on there nicely, we're just going to take another piece and put it right on top. So we're going to move that out of the way because these pieces I can save for binding this whole project. Choose another color. We're going to go with this beautiful pink here. I'm going to line it up right sides together over the strip that I just sewed on. And then I'm going to cut it to the size that I need it to be for now, because we will straighten this all up after the fact. Now you can pin it in place, or you can just take it to the machine and sew it.
What's the name of your little storage basket you put on the floor there?
That's the Quilty Caddy.
Video came out, how long ago was that you did
that? Was So Sunday, like a few months ago, yes.
Yeah. The Irish sale lady's asking. She wants to look up that video.
Yep, it's the Quilty Caddy. It was done on a Sew Sunday a couple months ago. I'm just sewing it on here. Keeping everything flat as I can. Obviously, I still have junk in the way. And then you roll it back and you take it to the iron and press it nice and flat. And again, it'll stick to the batting really nicely, so you really don't have to iron if you don't want to. But I do, because the last time I did it, I had little puckers throughout mine. Oh, this was a long time ago when I worked in my garage when it was super, super hot out. And I don't like the look of the puckers, so I want them gone. So I'm just going to press it after every strip is added. And we're literally quilting these directly on to our batting and our backing. So now, choose another strip. Just going to lay it on here, right sides together on the strip that I just put on. I'm going to cut it. That piece over there. Bring it back to the machine and sew. 1/4 inch seam allowance on the 2 strips, as if you were sewing your 2 strips together in the first place without all this stuff. You're doing the exact same thing you would normally do. And keeping it flat all at the same time. So again, you can see how quickly this grows. I'm just going to take this over the iron now, and you can see so far I have 3 quilting lines on here. I'm going to actually go over it when I'm done and quilt some more before we trim it and stuff, but just wanted to be able to show you guys how these are attached. All right. Now to choose another piece. I'm going to grab this guy right here, like this one. Put it right sides together. I'll go ahead and trim it off to the size I want. Toss that aside. Keeping this whole thing rolled up. It's so easy. So super easy. And sewing my 1/4 inch seam. And I'm also keeping everything flat as best as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and press that back. Bring it over here. Grab another strip. I want this yellow. This pretty yellow one. I'm going to put it on here, right sides together. Cut it to the size I want. Roll all this back up. Bring it over here and sew it on, which I'm quilting it on at the same time.
Ian apparently doesn't know what's up with your case.
He doesn't know what?
What's up with your case right there?
My bra case?
Yeah.
This is my cool bra that one of my friends gave me. And you can stick stuff in it, like your rotary cutter or whatever you want. But it's a bra. Come on. Save the boobies, people. Save the boobies.
It goes with the theme of your shirt, your breast cancer shirt.
Yes, it goes with my breast cancer shirt.
Which you made.
Yep. I made myself my breast cancer shirt for those that just joined. I made this shirt yesterday. It don't fit my boobies, but hey, I'm still wearing it, okay? It's in honor of all those for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I'm just sewing this on here. And then I'm going to press it back. This is so adorable, all these flower prints. So this is what I got so far. Look at that. And on the back, you can see it's nicely quilted. Oops, everything's flying away from me. All right, another strip. Ooh, let's do this color. We're going to do this one. Just going to lay it up here. Put it where I want it. Find my smizzers. Cut it to the size I want. I should have enough strips, by the way, to go across this whole thing. One of each color. So I'll come over here, keeping everything flat, and sew a 1/4 inch seam. Just like I'm hooking any other jelly roll strips together. And although I can't sew a straight line, I'm doing my best because it doesn't matter. It's being covered right back up again. Okay.
That little bra case was supposedly made by Mr. Titzling with that Midler.
Interesting.
I don't know if I threw all that in, but it's quite interesting.
Yes, that is. Well, it's made, technically it's a bra travel case. So you put your bras in it, you know, to travel. That's technically what it was listed as. All right, let's put a pretty blue in next. Just gonna lay it back out, put this on top. I'm pretty much repeating that same step over and over until this whole thing is covered in jelly roll strips. And the more strips I keep adding, the less I have to shove under the throat of the machine. And there's a different way to do, there's another quilt as you go method, and that's making the blocks and putting them together. It might be a really long time before I ever show you guys that on my channel, but this method is easy to do. So the other method, you have to like make your blocks and then you hook them all together, you quilt them and then you hook them all together. I did that before too, and it didn't turn out very nice for me, but there is, you know, it's the same concept. You make your blocks and then you sew everything together with your batting and backing.
You can't do a straight why? How can you make such beautiful quilts?
Well, I don't know. I just make quilts. I just can't sew a straight line. They're always wavy and wonky. Like right now, they're wavy and wonky. But that's okay. It makes for some great quilting on the back.
Could you use this method to make a baby quilt?
Yes, you can use this method to make a baby quilt. If you're using strings, you can do it if you're using blocks. Just hook your blocks together and then sew them on. You know, so make all your block rows. So if you're making a baby quilt, treat this like a row too. So you would just put one row down and your other row right sides together. So that big long seam of your rows, you might want to pin so you have nice matched up seams. So that big long row, and then press it out and then go down to the next. And always rolling up your project, the bottom half of it, you know, your batting and backing part, just keep rolling it up as you go and just keep sewing the rows together and folding it. And you'll have a beautiful pieced looking top quilt as you go quilt. So it could definitely be done. You can do it with 5-inch squares. So you just make a row of 5-inch squares, you know, so you piece all your 5-inch squares into one, you know, 60-inch row or whatever. And then you would just hook the rows on just like I'm doing with the strings, except you would nest your seams in between if you really, really want them to be perfect by using pins. But it's the same concept.
Can you sew any color fabric?
Can I sew any color fabric? Yeah, you could sew whatever you want. You can sew whatever you want when you do stuff like this.
Are the strips you're cutting off long enough to use again on the same table?
Yep. Yeah, they are, but I'm not going to because there was enough strips here, I'm pretty sure, to go all the way across with a different color each time.
Say hi to your mom.
Hi, Mom. Okay, so I'm just sewing this on. But yeah, for those of you who are limited on space, this is probably the most easiest way to quilt the quilt at the same time as piecing the quilt. You just pre-make all your rows and sew them together onto your backing and batting. Just make sure you pre-baste with some kind of spray, or there's powder stuff now that you just put the powder on and you iron it. And you can pin it, but just remember to take your pins out as you're going, because if you don't remember, then you're going to have pins inside your quilt. You definitely don't want that, especially if you're making a baby size one. So I'm just folding it back. And as you can see so far, it's nice and flat. Look at that. And the back stayed nice and flat, and it's already pre-quilted. Isn't that awesome? I just love how this goes together. All right, next strip.
How's Alexa doing?
Alexa is good. She got a job. So she's doing good. She starts her job, I think, tomorrow, Monday. So she's doing good. But yeah, you can get, if you use jelly roll strips, like say you have a full jelly roll. I didn't have a full jelly roll, but if you had a full jelly roll and you do this, you could do this 2 times. You can make 2 table toppers exactly the same. Or you can make a table runner and 4, what's the word for it, Scotty? Placemats. You can make 4 matching placemats this method. You can make whatever you want with this method. So if you're new to quilting, but you don't know how you're going to quilt your quilt, this is a way to do it at the same time as piecing it. And since I used to do this before I had my mid-arm, and I did not have an open 9-inch throat like this one, I had this little tiny throat. Because you're rolling it up, it fits in the little throats too. And this piece is like 45, 50 inches. So you can tell that I can, you know, do a baby quilt if I wanted to in this amount of throat space. All right. So now I'm just going to roll this other side up so that way I have both sides rolled up like a scroll. Ooh, let's put this one. I'll line it there. Pretty much I'm using half of a strip. Bring it over, sew it on, and you can use a walking foot if you don't trust it for shifting purposes, but I'm not having a problem using my regular 1/4-inch foot. And as you can tell, I'm not having a problem with needing to pin or anything. I pinned the first two, but that's it. Probably be best to have an iron right next to you so you don't have to keep getting up, but I don't mind getting up because I have a step goal of 2,000 steps a day, and although I'm not being tracked by it right now, I at least know that I took my steps. All right, let's put this pretty blue.
Was this a jelly roll or from your strip stash?
This was from leftovers from a jelly roll that were sent to me in the mail. But my strip stash is quite large. I could probably make 500 table runners with that.
Yeah.
Because there's over 1,000 strips in there. That bin seems to be getting fuller and fuller every time I cut leftover fabric. Huh? Oh. Yeah. Okay. Look at that. We're going so quick here. So quick. Next. All right. Let's put this one. Can you get me that cold water, please? All right, so you can see that this side is now getting quite large. Gonna roll it up. Keep this side rolled up. Let's put this. No, I want two white ones next to each other. Let's do.
Here you go, my love.
Thank you. This one. All right. So this guy on. Remembering to keep it flat. That's the whole. You can see, like, because my body wrinkles it up, we want to make sure that you stay flat. Keep unrolling that side every time I press this side on. Got a little bit of ways to go. It's going to be one long table runner. Let's put.
Is it okay to sew each strip the same direction?
Yep.
Get wonky?
Nope. Hasn't gotten wonky for me yet. That one's kind of short. I might hold off on that guy until I know how wide this is going to end up.
You use fusible batting?
You can use fusible batting. I didn't. I made, I put spray based on it. So again, I'm just keeping it flat. No, it shouldn't warp because we are sewing it onto a foundation this way. If you were sewing jelly roll strips, like say a jelly roll race, and you're just sewing the strips all the same direction, or like for a Bargello or anything like that, you would want to alternate the directions you're sewing the strips. But this way, because we have a foundation underneath, it shouldn't be shifting. It should be staying just right.
Glued on that end, so
Yeah, it's glued and sewn, so it's not going nowhere. All right, next.
Bargello a lot of work?
A Bargello is a lot of work, yeah.
That's what I thought.
I've never, well, actually, I finished many of Bargellos, but I have one that I started in my garage many years ago that has a whole series. I never actually quilted that yet. It's just as it is. It's hanging in the closet. And then I have another one that I made when I first started quilting. It's somewhere, I think, down here under my desk. And it's like extremely long. I meant for it to go on the back of the couch, like to cover the back of the couch. And I never finished it. All right, next strip. Let's go with this blue. Is that long enough? Yeah, it's going to be long enough because I'm going to make it long enough. Seems kind of short, but we're going to make it work. Yeah. Because as long as it's as big as my batting and my backing, that should be good. Almost to the end. Okay, just gonna roll that side up. Grab another piece. I don't want two blues next to each other. Let's put pink in between. Okay. I'll see Facebook and stuff later. I don't really ever check it during live streams.
On the group, I check the group stuff.
Yeah. Scott checks Facebook more than me, guys, just so you know. Because I've been super busy lately. But I do go in and see all the projects you guys are doing. Look at how colorful this is. So pretty. So pretty. So pretty. All right, next. You know what? We're going to go ahead and use this strip.
Quilt Shop said that, right? It popped up right as he said that. They said it's so pretty, just as he said. It's funny how they're like the same.
They said it at the same time.
Yeah.
That's funny. I definitely love, okay, like I don't like flowers. I don't want Scott or my kids to buy me flowers. Don't buy me flowers. I don't like them. But on fabric, the little tiny flower prints, they're so adorable. So this is how I get my flowers. Yeah, I don't like real flowers because they die.
On fabric, they don't die.
Nope, they don't die on fabric. Yep, so fabric flowers are my favorite because they don't die. I don't gotta water nothing. Just gotta keep it clean. Throw it in the wash every now and then, you know. All right. Almost to the end. All right, let's put this blue. There's so many blues. Yeah, we'll do this blue. That's fine though. Having blues at the end. Okay. Few more to go. All right, let's go with a pink. We've got to separate the last of these blues.
Your favorite fabric would be butterflies.
Yeah, my favorite fabrics would be stuff with butterflies. But I do love flower fabric.
You like almost any fabric.
I like any fabric, that's right. I like all fabric. Ugly fabric, pretty fabric, you name it, I like it all. I can't be picky. I like all fabric. Although there have been a few pieces that I was not very fond of over the years. Like, why do I have this? And who with the right mind would use it? Me, that's who, actually. Ooh, I may have estimated this just right. Doing good here, guys. Doing good. If I get done early enough, I can get back into bed and finish watching City Slickers.
Yeah, right.
All right, 2 more strips to attach, which is what I think it's about room for. All right, let's see. Once that's on, let's see. Ooh, that's cutting it close. I want this pretty blue first, though. Why? Because we're going to see how much. I should have started over some, I think.
How's your Sculliver coming along?
It's coming along. You guys will see Wednesday for video 2. How Sculliver is coming along. I be able to fit one more strip? Ooh, that's probably a no. Let's see. Yeah, it's not going to cover it all the way, and I'm going to be cutting too much off of it. Let's see, where did I start on this side? Yeah, I started right at the edge on that side too, so I'm not going to bother with that last strip. This now is ready to be either trimmed down and call it a day, or quilted. And guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to quilt it some more. So I'm going to start by basting down these two ends real quick because they have nothing holding them. I'm just literally keeping everything flat. Yeah. Yep, you can turn it off now. I'm going to come over here to this side, tack this side down so that I can move around easily. Huh?
Usually they see you with all your pieces cut and ready to go. Is this off the cuff? You're making it up as you go?
Yes, it's made up as I went. So now I'm going to go ahead and quilt down the middle of every single one of these strip pieces. Why? Because I can. Although I don't know exactly where the middle is, I'm just going to guess because I can. And probably should use a walking foot, but I'm not. Come back, go to the center of this one. Over this again. I want to see some stitches on the top. And I could have like echo stitched her on both sides of the, the ditch, but I didn't do that either. Just doing this. Guessing where the center is and stitching it. So much fun. So freeing. I did change my stitch length for this step. The original stitching, I was doing at about a 2.2. And since I'm top stitching now, I got it at a 3, which is like 10 stitches per inch.
Will you leave each end flat or cut into a point?
I'm going to leave them flat. No, I'm going to bind it. So there'll be no edge, no raw edges. Did it cut out? I'm going to do like 2 more this direction and then turn it. Turn it around and go the opposite direction. If I had bobbin. If I had a bobbin.
Do you only use cotton thread in your quilts?
Nope, I use cotton and poly. Like where my bobbin is, stuck to the bottom of here.
Do you have a favorite brand?
My favorite brand for long arm quilting is Glide. I use Glide. But for piecing, I use whatever brand is on sale or the cheapest or whatever I can find. I tend to use the Orifil big spools quite often, and then I use the Coates and Clark off-brand spools, like the bigger spools. I think it's just Coates, though. It's not Coates and Clark, but you guys know what company I'm talking about.
She meant the edges of the strip, each strip, will they fray?
Well, I'm trimming it, so no, they won't fray. I still have to trim the quilt. Yeah, nothing should fray or anything. Let me go ahead and go this way now. I like this because there's no rules on my quilting. I could have just left it as is. You can quilt serpentine lines, which is just kind of letting yourself, go back and forth. I'm just doing straight lines, but I like the look of top quilting, and I also like heavy quilting. So this is a little bit of both on my Quilt As You Go project. Two more, and then you can trim it. So now you can see it has lots of quilting on the back and only half the amount of quilting on the front because it's the way it's put together.
What quilt pattern would use up a layer cake and 2 charm packs, a discontinued motor line bulb boa?
I don't know. There's lots of, Missouri Star has lots of simple, easy patterns for multiple layer cakes. You can do any one of my patterns too and just double the amount. Like if you're cutting a layer cake up, then you would just double the amount. All right, let's trim this thing. I'm going to grab my long ruler. And I'm going to start by trimming this edge right here because I already know that this is a straight edge. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this off first. And there's for my scrap bin. But all of it's just going to go on the floor for now. I'm going to turn it right here. I'm going to see where my fabric, we're just going to guess. And if I have to trim it down some more, I will. I'm going to guess where that backing fabric is. So I'm going to straighten the corner of my ruler up. Nice and straight with the cut that I just made. You can use a square ruler for this part. I'm going to assume that I'm getting the backing fabric. Nope. I'm going to go over. So take off this much more. Perfect. Okay. I'm just going to slide it down. Straighten it out with right here. And a line right here. Just like that. Nice and straight. Yep. And the end right here. I'm going to line up my last strip with the ruler on the side right here. And that's my cutoffs. Turn it. Cut the end straight by lining up the ruler. End right here. End right there.
What's your favorite size quilt to make?
My favorite size quilt to make is usually queen or king size. All right, now for this last side. Let's see where that is on here. Making sure that I'm getting the backing fabric. At the same time, so I'm lining my ruler up with my straight edge right here. And I'm just straightening it as I go. Lining the ruler up with a straight edge, and a straight edge, and a straight edge, because they're pretty darn straight. Coming up to right here. Straight edge here, straight edge all the way down here. Look at that. And the binding will cover that last little corner right here. As you can see, I could either trim it. I should trim it just like a hair. Just a hair all the way down. Straight line here, straight line there, straight line down here. Oops. And there, I have a table runner. Now I just need to bind it. So I'm going to take all these strips right here, and it's literally going to get bound in them. So I just need, I don't need that many. Just going to lay them on top of each other and see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to hook up 8. That's fine. All right. Here we go. I'm going to hook all of these together. Just straight seams. I'm not going to bother with putting them on the diagonal. Just going to hook them end, and then I'm going to press it all in half, and bind it. It would help if I had a smaller stitch length, though. And it also would help if I trimmed off the selvages. This is so much fun. All right. Next piece. This one. Trim off that selvage. And yes, you can do binding with straight seams. There's nothing saying that you can't. I know some people say that you shouldn't, but I do, and I don't have a problem. I don't do it all the time, obviously. Just stuff like this, little projects like this. I think it's going to be adorable. Anybody else sewing today with me? Okay, going. Because I laid them all on there, so it should be good. I allowed room for overage. They're 2.5-inch strips. They were from leftover from a Garden Delight 2 by In the Beginning for 2018 Jelly Roll. I don't know what fabric company In the Beginning Fabrics is from, but that's the name of the fabric one. All right, so I'm just going to finger press these all open and then plug the iron back in and then press this in half. So, and then bind. It's literally that quick. So if you guys are new to this and you want to make a quick table runner as a gift for someone, grab a jelly roll or, you know, sew some blocks together and make a row and then put them on by row because this can be done both ways. All right. So as soon as the iron is ready, I'm going to press this whole strip in half like I would with any binding. My Martelli cutter I got online. And, am I not on?
You are on. Oh. So you got your cutter and then it's in the...
You guys can find the Martelli cutter at SewingMachinesPlus. If you type in explanation SMP, it'll give you a link.
I put in the link. Click on the link.
Oh, click on the link, and that's where you'll just type in Martelli cutter, and that's where you'll find the Martelli cutters.
Click on the link I put for cut.
Oh, it should go straight to it then. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm just pressing my strip in half now, same as I do with any other binding.
How do you keep your spools of thread upright in your drawer?
Oh, they just sit in the drawer upright.
There's so many of them.
Yeah, there's so many of them shoved in here, they stay upright. But my long arm drawers are not. My long arm drawers, they're just thrown in there. I throw the threads just in the drawer. All right, just pressing this in half. Well, it takes a few minutes. I did press my seams open, so I'm pressing those before I get to them. Because I'm trying to, you know, have less bulk. And since I finger pressed my seams open, they... Oops. Well, now, I do have to seam rip real quick. I just realized I put a piece on upside down.
Would you recommend the Juki for a new quilter?
Yeah, this is the best machine for a new quilter. All right, I'm going to seam rip this real quick because I sewed it on upside down. And then turn it and then re-sew it. Oh my goodness, come on.
Oh no, I just typed in that link too.
Scott just typed in a link for you guys for the Juki. Well, he didn't type it in. He just typed in the Juki. Okay. Let's put these. Oh, it's this strip that's not. That's what it was. It's this strip. So I have to rip this whole strip out. I knew it looked weird. Goes to show you need to pay attention. Pay attention when you're sewing things together. I don't know why I didn't notice it when I was pressing the seams open. All right, let's do that again. Right sides together. And right sides together. That's funny. Been a long time since I've done that. Okay. Now to press these open and continue on with folding it in half and pressing it. It was almost done too. Just pressing my binding still. It's almost done. All right. Let's bring this over here. I'm going to throw this to the side of me, and I am going to attach the binding. I have no idea what happened here. On this one. All right. I'm going to grab a seam guide so that I can sew a straight line, because, you know, I can't sew a straight line without it. And I am going to put my binding onto the back and then flip it to the front. So I'm just going to leave a nice long tail. I really don't care if a seam ends at the end, because honestly, it's probably going to happen no matter how hard I try not for it to. I'm just attaching my binding now. Same way as if I do it when I took a quilt off the long arm. I'm doing my binding that same exact way, except I did straight seams instead of doing diagonal seams. On here. Sew it out.
Someone just put in a link for glide thread.
Huh? Oh yeah, the glide thread could be found at my local quilt shop.
Yeah.
He put a link there for you guys.
They asked a while ago.
They're the cheapest anywhere that I've found for it. Alright, second to last corner to attach. And then all we have to do is flip it around and tuck it on. And I probably sewed together one too many strips because I was just guessing. And I did, but that's okay. So it wouldn't matter that I had that one backwards. Well, because the last one was going to come off anyway. It's better to have too much binding than not enough.
I would imagine.
All right. Actually, that's going to be perfect because I'm just going to seam rip this right here. Seam ripper. Where'd you go? Down there on the floor because I needed it out of the way. No, it's in my little basket.
Oh, I was going to say, don't step on that thing. Sharp.
I don't need that. And I also need to cut away a tiny, tiny bit of this one. Cut away that seam allowance right there. Where did it go? All right, so I'm just going to trim to right there. I'm going to put these right sides together and sew a 1/4 inch seam. Just like this, because it's a straight seam. I literally cut it a 1/4 inch bigger than the other side. So it should lay perfect on here. Less hassle than sewing a 45-degree seam to finish off the quilt. I'm going to go ahead and finger press this open. Fold it in half. Lay it on here, and look at that. Perfect, just like that. I'm going to put this back under here and start stitching the rest of it on. That is all on. Now to flip to the other side and stitch it on. I'm going to change my stitch length to a 3, which is the same that I quilted with.
What's your thoughts on the quilting glide mats? You mean the cutting mats?
What mats? My thoughts on...
She said she's sorry if it's not the correct name. I think she means the cutting mat.
The cutting mats, the Fiskars, they're replaceable for life. I do have an Ulfa in the garage. I like that mat, but it really got dinged quickly.
But it is replaceable. Send me a new one.
But these ones, they do replace them. If you have your receipt, you got to have your receipt. That's the problem. Some people don't keep their receipt for 2 and 3 years. I just so happen to save my receipts. All right. This is so adorable.
Oh. The lady said she was talking about the free motion quilt glide mat.
Oh, I don't have that. I don't have a free motion quilt mat because I don't free motion, but there's probably some people out there in the chat that do. And maybe they can answer what their thoughts are.
Yeah, that's what other people in the chat.
I was going to say, yeah, I don't.
Do you have any stitches on your Juki?
No, this is a straight stitch only machine. That's what this Juki is. Now, don't get me wrong. They do sell other Juki machines that are computerized that have other stitches. This is what's branded as a semi-industrial machine. This is straight stitch only. It only does one thing. It sews forward and backwards, and that's it. It doesn't do anything else. There's no computers. It does have a thread cutter built in, and you can change your stitch length. That's about it. Other than that, this is nothing fancy. And this is made for people who quilt, because you're only piecing your quilts, and then you can also free motion quilt on here. So you'll get a special free motion quilting foot. I don't know if they come with them now, but they should. You get this table, the extension table comes with them, and you should get a free motion quilting and a walking foot for quilting, for free motion quilting. Which is what I used to do on here before I got the big long arm. And yes, I just fly through binding. Sorry, guys. I am quick with this. It's probably the fastest thing I do.
Hey, you're only a little over an hour and you're almost done.
Yeah.
If you weren't talking, you would have this thing done in 45 minutes flat.
Yep. And you can see that having my straight seams, I know some people say it's too much bulk, but I pressed them with the seams open, so there's no bulk where they come together. It's just the same as any other way you bind. Just putting my mitered corner. My last side here. And I know it's fall, but this is a beautiful spring table runner. Okay, almost to the end. There we go. All right, pull it away and call it a day.
That right.
You guys like that?
I like that.
And here we have a quilt as you go table runner. Look at that. Yay, woohoo. I'm clapping, but you can't see me doing it. I'm clapping with my eyes, see? Woo, woo. All right, let's put that back before I knock it all over.
I like the
So it turned out to be 19 inches by 46.5. So it's the perfect table runner size. Yay, that quick. Bam, done. You guys can do this too. And it's bound. And it has a back. And it's beautifully quilted with straight lines.
How long did you make the strips?
I just grabbed from the pile. So whatever was left over from the strips for my binding. And the strips that were on here were about 21, 22 inches because you guys saw I had to trim it to size. So look at that.
Oh, this is pretty for Easter. I didn't even think of that. It
Yep.
is Easter colors.
Yes, Easter colors. It's spring colors.
Well, before you know it, Easter will end up being there.
Here, I'll hold it even closer so that you can see. Beautiful fabrics. And here's my backing fabric. It was a scrap from a 108 that I purchased at Marshall Dry Goods. And you can see all that stitching. So there we have it. And I have this left. So these little pieces, if I wanted to, I could make whatever else with them. But that's what's left.
Well, you have lots of strips. You can
Yeah.
make another.
Yep. But I will put these in my string and strip bin.
How long did you say the whole thing was?
Oh, 40. What did I say? 30. 44, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 47 and a half. So look at that. It's technically 19 and a quarter, but we're just going to say 19 inches because who says a quilt is 19 and a quarter? So we're going to say 19 by 47. That's what it is. It's adorable.
How do you fix your self-filling mats or take care of them? What it would be.
Oh,
How do you take care of them?
I wash mine, except I have gouges in this. Like literally really deep gouges. And this is my newest mat too. We got what, 6 months ago? You guys can tell I do a lot of YouTube videos, so I go through a lot of these cutting mats. But yeah, this one has gouges in it, so that's not fixable even after washing it. But I do take care of it by, where did it go? It should be right here on top. Where'd it go? Because we cleaned out in here that one day. Here it is, right on top. I have an eraser, and I erase away all the stuff that gets cut into the cut marks, and then I wash it in the bathtub or outside on the patio. But I use a big eraser. You can get these at the dollar store. Just get a big eraser and erase away all of your fabric that's stuck in all the cutting things. Just know that the eraser does make quite the mess. And then you can also use, at the dollar store, those little kits for your feet and your hands. It's like a cheese grater, and it has the other side has the Puma stone on it, and inside that kit it also has a little handheld brush thing at the Dollar Tree, and you use it to clean under your fingernails and brush, under your fingernails. That brush, just dry on its own on here, also pulls out the threads that get stuck in the grooves from cutting.
What do you wash it with? Regular soap?
Soap and water. This soap and water. But there we have it. Another thing is constantly flipping them. If your opposite side doesn't have cutting marks, like markings on it, my big Olfa that I have on my table in the garage does not have cutting marks on one side. One side's just solid, and the other side has the lines. So that's another reason why I didn't like it. This one has two sides, because there's two sides to, I'll just take this out so you can see. There's two sides to every mat. This side right here, as you can see, is pretty much brand new on this one. Okay. This side, you can see, is very well used. So you can see rotating them often from one side to the other is very good. This is my craft mat, though, for other crafts that I rarely ever do.
When you replace them, you call Postcards, right?
But when you replace them, you call the Postcards and you fill out the thing. They'll email you a thing, and you fill it out and show proof with pictures of your receipt, and they'll replace it. But I get the Fiskars ones. Never had a problem with them. They take my abuse. All right, guys. Well, I am done. That's it. I'm done. I'm sweating. I'm hot. Oh, I'm not even bothered right now. All right. Anybody else have any questions? I don't see any other ones. Great night. Yep. So that's it. I'm done. I hope you guys enjoyed and learned how to do quilt as you go with strips. Again, if you want to use, say, charm squares, piece together your charm squares in rows, and then don't hook the rows together yet. Use your backing, your batting, and put your rows on here. You can match them up if you want. And then put those right sides together. And the same way that I attach the strips would be the same way you would attach your 5-inch charm squares hooked together in strips. And you just keep going row after row. So you have to pre-piece your rows for that. But strips, you can do this. And you could also just cut a 40-inch piece of whatever background and your batting and take your jelly roll and do them in rows of your whole 40-inch width. And you'll have a really long quilt. And wide to have a lap quilt instead of just a table runner. You can use the full width of your strip. So just know that there are plenty of ways to do this. It's very easy. And as you can tell, it went super quick. And that's it. And then all you have to do is bind it. I mean, because you pre-quilted it, really. So, all right, guys. Well, hope you all have a great night. I'm off to watch more City Slickers. So thank you. Take care. And don't forget to say a prayer for all of those who are fighting breast cancer, since October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Bye, everybody.
Good night.